I'm curious what we do today. So I've done these little calls where we just toss them up as a podcast episode, and this for whoever hears this, the background is this is Stevenson. My name is Mr. 2020. You probably listen to me on the Power of Imagination podcast. This fellow's pretty cool, and he's a member of our group, and we're just going to chat about whatever we talk about. And I know it'll be profitable and pleasurable for everyone because he's who he is. And whoever's listening, you are who you are. And you're not going to be here if you're boring. So we'll just use the audio for purposes
Okay.
to keep my life simpler. And yours too, even though you're all dressed up snazzy. I appreciate that.
I
So
wasn't sure if we needed the video, so
yeah, I realized shit, I never got back to him. So cool. So how shall we dance today?
well, I can tell you what, I've been playing around with recently, and it's funny. I didn't get identity-based manifesting until later. I got manifesting mastery. I got prosperity pack, which is awesome packs. Like I go through those often, like repeatedly, just to kind of bring them to top of mind. But it's kind of identity-based manifesting is kind of tying these things together where I'm noticing what you're saying in identity-based manifesting in terms of having identities or your primary identities. I'm noticing that in other people, in their talents and their gifts, and it's kind of
Nice.
it's on autopilot, even though they may or may not know it. And it's interesting to notice what comes natural to people. So that's kind of what I've been playing with.
You know, they said NLP is the study of the breadcrumbs left behind human experience. No, they didn't say that. They said something like that. I've just continually been modifying that. But from what I can tell, the study of the breadcrumbs that are left behind by human experience are really worth noticing. They take us on a journey, just like that old fairy tale that uh, uh there was breadcrumbs left behind. Uh, I don't know if it's to find their way out, if it leads someone else along. I don't remember that, but I remember things like I remember, and we all remember to be who we routinely are. And if you look at identity-based manifesting, that was an interesting course because we built it into the original Manifesting Mastery. In 2015, we built it into Manifesting to the Max very formally with 3 core identities and all that stuff. Uh, and that's a good one too. But it
Mhm.
wasn't until like 2022 or so where I realized this is the glue that binds a lot of things together. It's sort of like whenever you slow cook beef ribs, uh, you get something out of it that makes this gelatin that is just, it's collagen, and it's so good for all of you. Uh, how old are you?
38.
You want to keep feeling like you're 38 or feel younger? Eat collagen. Collagen is awesome shit. And and identity based manifesting to me is this collagen. It just really helps you weave into that stuff that once you see it, it's always there. And you can play with it in all kind of ways, like the fascia in the body. But until you see it in a functional way, uh, you're gonna muscle your way through life. You're gonna just try to, yeah, you're gonna say, this is how I am, this is my bone structure. But you get into the fascia of the thing, the identity of the thing, and whoa, baby.
And another thing that he mentioned was you see a lot of, I think the way you phrased it was that there's a lot of people who worship struggle.
Hmm.
unnecessarily worship, struggle, and I could see where I was doing that in the past, where or I don't know how to put it into words, but you're putting resistance where it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Um, and then when you step back from a situation, you look at it and go, well, me worrying about this for 45 minutes straight did absolutely nothing.
It did nothing. It
What
did
caused you
nothing.
more stress, which spirals. So, noticing, I think the subtle things for me are what kind of have been fascinating. But you have to slow down and be still to do that, which is a big thing that it's kind of hard to get people to do sometimes.
It's they don't want to slow down. They either want to stop and be puddles, or they want to push. Uh, the You ever play basketball?
For 30 years of my life.
I
About as
take
long
I
as you did martial arts.
Yeah, I suck at basketball. But I went to a high school that was really well known for basketball. And one of my passions, of course, is fascia. And and
Mhm.
and I noticed you get these glorious basketball players too. They'll move down the court and it's like they move like a ball. They're actually bouncing, bounding down the court and up into the air. They're timeless. Uh Magic. Everyone knows magic. And 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 and,
Yes.
and so there's this chick the other day, average white Australian chick, 5'2", if anything. And
Mhm.
and she's in the I go in to do my Tai Chi, which to me is nothing more than fascia exploration. And that's magical. And she shoots one hoop. And I go, damn, she was pure poetry in motion. So I'm doing my old style kung fu stuff. She's doing her 5'2" Australian white lady shooting the ball. And some people are going to think I'm a racist. I'm not. I'm fascist. It was in for as fascial. Uh, and this magic is coming out of her. And this magic is coming out of me. And when I'm leaving, uh, why stop? She stops. She turns to me and just gives me a nod and a smile. I, I give one back to her. And off we went. Uh, I've never seen her again. But I imagine with 30 years of basketball, you know what I'm talking about. Uh,
Yeah,
y-
it's one of those things, and way, 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 long, long, long time ago, I first started taekwondo was one of my first. So I was like a green belt, and then I started playing basketball, and I had to make a decision. I was like, well, I'm a little better at basketball. I'm an okay martial artist, and I'm
nice.
pretty tall, so I went with that. But they have similarities in that you have to play, like I call it playing. So the thing, and I'm using this as an analogy of what we study and read is you can read it, you can study it, I can explain it to you. The only way to get better at it is to do more of it. And that's the beauty of basketball. It's poetry. It's hard to explain until you do more of it and it clears up. And when you get really good, I'm not a black belt. I can imagine it's like this in martial arts. When you get really good, everything slows down.
Yeah. They say that when you are in combat, been there, done that, when you're doing good martial art, uh, good any sport even, uh, because your attention and your consciousness are in a very simple dance. Uh, I say we stop making up time. and we don't have to make up time. And that could mean a couple of different things. But it really is,
Absolutely.
it's that timeless time of magic. I hear you do this when you speak. I don't know if you know you do this when you speak. We're on the group calls and when we've had our 2-minute chats, I
Mhm.
hear you speak from poetry. And I know part of what you do is speak to the world about systems. And most people try to cram the system into a science. And I get it. Systems are scientific. I've got organ systems in my organism, and it's very orderly, and I like that. It works. And I've got businesses and stuff that things are orderly. They've got systems. Some days the systems work. And
There
that's how I
we
get
go.
into chair with you today. But I think we need to, I think the people who are poets uh really need to pursue the pleasure of the poetry in all that we do. I find in my podcast, we were talking the other day about Spotify and podcasts, and how in the old days you had 5-minute episodes and then you were done. They would do a countdown beep. I remember the countdown beep well, and you better be done because they're not letting the episode go any longer. But I got poetic, I think, at a much faster rate that way. And I'm curious with what you do, with helping clients with systems, which is all we do anyway. Yeah, if I can help you to work with a sacred order and have some systems that unleash the poetry of you, life becomes so much more of a song, so much more of a divine dance.
Yeah, I agree. It's messaging is poetry to me. Messaging is pretty much poetry. Um, and it takes practice, but I think some of it for me is a little less editing because you edit, but sometimes I don't want to over edit. I mean, obviously, you just can't say anything, but then you do want to still be human. So I try to keep that balance. And it's the same, honestly, when you just have a conversation with someone, right? You want to edit, but you don't want to over edit. You want to be authentic and let your self come through the messaging rather than I have a script, right? Because in my
Yeah.
world, everything is a script, script, script. But the magic is what you're saying, putting your poetry, your messaging within that framework where it captures people.
Mm.
And for what I try to do is, or what I do is, I try to bake that. I don't have a word for it, paradigm where we say, okay, you're doing this way. Okay. And this may take you 3, 4, 5 days. What if we look at it this way and it takes you a day? And I promise you, you won't sacrifice your value. It's just a different way of looking at it, a different mechanism. Instead of cutting the tree down with a hacksaw, let's use a chainsaw. Still get the tree cut
Mm.
down. So that's how I look at what I do and how I try to help people. You asked a question last time, uh, how would I describe what I do? I think I said efficiency. But then I thought about it again and I was like, if I go deeper, I was trying to think on a deeper level. It's really the people that I work with, I identify what they're really good at, and I'm trying to get them in front of the people who need that, who are looking for that. So it's kind of like, oh, you're really good at this. You should show these people. So that's where my fulfillment comes from in what I do.
Are you a matchmaker?
I guess in a way would be.
I think it's really useful to just find, if you're a matchmaker. There's this gorgeous girl we bought wine from the other day. Her name's Libby, and she's just a beautiful human being. She's pretty. She's perky. And I told her, I said, I wish I had a nephew I could work with. Not that you need it, and not that you're into guys. I have no idea what you're into.
Mhm.
But I let her know I really appreciate them. Uh yeah, and I can't help but notice how touched she was because here's a guy. I'm one of 10,000 people that buys booze in the store. And and I'm telling her, I wish I had a nephew to hook you up with. And she knows I'm not hitting on it. That's the beautiful part. I'm talking to
Right.
Victoria on the glasses. She's already talked to Victoria on the glasses. She talked to Victoria about a week or so ago in person. We stopped by. And I think that there's a gift that when we realize what our gifts are, we also realize that we're a gift to the world. And when you realize what your gifts are, and that's how you give to the world, when you realize the gift that you are to the world, we stop the pursuit of goals, and we can start the experience of being given to. I think what I do gives to people, and there are people like you that routinely pay me money, and that tells me I'm either one manipulative motherfucker, uh, and I don't think I am. I hate people that are manipulative. No, I don't. I hate when people are manipulative. It saddens me. Uh, or Stevenson gets uh 20 as a gift to me, and I can give to him because how he gives to me helps me be the gift I am. And that's a weird ass way to put things. But I think
Yeah.
even if I can't market with that message, and maybe I can, maybe I just did, uh, it's the truth. And I think realizing the truth about Stevenson or Mr. 2020, or you got to meet Uncle Bob. Man, what he can do to a brisket, good Lord. Uh, that's his gift. And for him not to, and I'm making up Uncle Bob, it'd be freaky if he had one. I did the brisket. but,
No,
but, we, but we don't know, do we? But it's fun to just notice, can we honor the gifts? Libby really gave a lot to Victoria. And when we stopped in the store, I don't remember if Victoria actually met her before. Uh, and I can't help but give to Libby. And I just wonder if we lived with more of a focus on hey Stevenson, this is your gift, and part of your gift is basketball, dude. That's cool to me. I'd love to see you shoot hoops someday. Shoot some football, and when we can really realize some of this, uh, I think the world would stop focusing on so many goals and so many goals of avoidance, and just realize, man, here's a gift. Let's just really explore the gifts.
yeah, that's it's funny you say that because you have these, I don't know what you call them, but I guess expectations or whatever. So I would say you got maybe around 30 at 31 years old, and you say, well, people say, hey, well, all right, let's hang it up now. All right, you don't have to play anymore. You're getting old, and it's easy to buy into it if you accept it, right? And it's like speed, right? You can accept it like that. And when you accept it, it's almost, from what I can tell, it's almost as if your body says, okay, you're accepting that? Cool, I'll shut down. But when you
You
don't
bet.
accept it and you say, you know what? I go look in this guys. There was a guy, I can't think of his name right now. He was 63 years old. This was maybe 8, 9 years ago. The guy would come every Saturday like clockwork, and he'd play full court game with us for
Yeah.
like an hour. And at one day, the guy asked, I said, how are you still playing? What's your secret? Like, what do you eat and all this stuff? And he said, "Do you want to know my secret?" He said, "Don't stop playing."
Yeah.
Uh,
Nice.
and it's it happens that quick where you can accept your limitation and or accept that, okay, maybe this is it for me on with this phase of my life. But then for me, the way I started, and just with basketball, I started not because I wanted to go to school. It was fun because there was a joy in it. So now at this phase, when I do it, it's a joy in it for me. And I
Nice.
remember about a year and a half I stopped. And this is where it goes back to where you say your desires are divine in nature. When I stopped, it was something like in me that compelled was like, I really want to go. I just want to go shoot.
Mm.
And I just by myself, no one's there. And it was weird to me that I wanted to do that, but it's a part of who I am. So I support back to my identity, and I try not to fight some of those things that bring me joy.
Do they bring you joy, or is that how you give joy to the entire universe?
That's that's I never thought of it that way. Um, I used to train kids for about 4 or 5 years,
Yes.
and they were from 8 to 12 years old, and that was so fulfilling because I always could look at the kid and I can tell he got it. He figured it out. And that would bring me a lot of joy, fulfillment. You can see him figuring it out, like you say, when you see people processing, like, okay, what do I put my hand here? Do I step here? And then it's that moment where they go, oh, I got it. And it's the same thing when I'm doing marketing, digital marketing, where hey, why don't we try it like this? And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then there's that moment, I get it. And for me, that's what keeps it exciting for me.
I notice in marketing land, uh, can I tell you some of my, what they say are weaknesses that I have found to be strengths?
Sure.
I am unable to do single variant testing. Yeah, so many of them say change the headline and then see how that affects your open rates. And I can't do it. I change everything all the time. And I tend to go really balls to the walls. When I moved into the state of fighting fit, I discovered it was actually fighting fit flexitarian. I couldn't eat meat. I couldn't eat anything but meat after that. I tried eating vegetables. We grow them in the garden. And after about 2 weeks of trying to eat a little bit of vegetable, it's like, Victoria, these are all yours.
Wow.
Never ate a carb after that. Just I got up out of the chair that day and lost all interest in carbs. And yeah,
That's amazing.
I, I can make a wicked gnocchi or a pasta. I can show you the best bread in Australia. Not interested. I love that she eats it, and I'll make it for her anytime she wants me to. I've got some specialties, but I lost all that, and I lost where I was going with all that. So, oh yeah. So in marketing, I'm unable to do single variant testing. I do notice differences in graphs and stuff. I think that's fun. Uh, and since it's fun, I can bring myself to notice it apparently. Uh, but I notice if I don't feel the magic with what I'm doing, neither will my clients. And I think part of what I do is I continuously invite people to more magic, uh, who have been lost in measurements. I'm not saying we don't go to measure things. I think it's important too. But I really get, if you can get your clients to find a little more magic in their business again, by stepping out of their safety structures. If you can get them out of their safety structures, and feel free to steal any term that I use. I just make them up as I say them, and then sometimes I repeat them. If you can get them to step out of a safety structure and step into a speedy system, uh, part of my love and hate affair with AI. How long have you been in Remarkable?
I was close to when it started.
Okay.
I would
For
say
over,
like coming up on a year. It's got to be close to a year.
okay, so you joined for okay, got it. So when you joined, I was still in the I really don't like this AI bullshit camp. That was my camp. And I had a couple people talk to me about it, and the way they were using it, I didn't like. All right. And then along came a buddy of mine. Let me back up. Along came a fellow who I respect deeply. And he says, my wife needs a kidney transplant. And I'm doing this 3-day AI event to raise money for the Kidney Foundation. I'm not going to get a kickback. They're not going to move me on the list. But I'm a rich guy and I can pay for it. There are poor people that can't. And I want to help. And I met this guy when I went to a similar event down the road from you in Austin, Texas. I went to 2 of them. They were called the Warrior Forum special events. The Warrior Forum was the old school
Warrior Forum
place, right? So I used to I was a long-term member of the Warrior Forum. I'm a life member. I don't even know how to log in anymore. But way back in the old days, they said,
good old days.
Hey, the good old days. They said, we're going to do an event. It's $100 for 2 days. We're going to give it to charity. I was, I think, the second or the third person to sign up. They did it again, and I did it again. Made great friends. Met this guy, Matt Basak. Matt Basak puts on this thing saying, hey, I'm a rich guy, and I want to help poor people with the Kidney Foundation. Donate money to them, send me the receipt, and I'll let you in the seminar. And I went in, and I noticed what he was sharing compared to what everything else I was seeing on the Facebook and what all the quote unquote amateurs were telling me. And I went, I can run with this, not to replace me, but to enhance all that I do. So instead of using it as a tool for automation, I've used it as a tool to edit, compile, systematize my stuff, make me more and less ADHD. And I'm just having a blast with it. And I swear to God, a year ago today, if you told me I was doing this, I'd say you're full of shit. No way, Stevenson. Not going to touch that. I think it's evil, Antichrist. And now I'm playing, and it's like, y'all remember when the typewriter came out? I was an older fellow then, but I can remember manual typewriters. I remember electric typewriters. Those became popular when I was in high school. Word processors. I bought one of the first Brother word processors. Paid a couple grand because I programmed the word processor to print out a 33-page book that I sold. It was on the shoplifting.
There was a
Profit
program
retention.
on there. I can't think of the name. There was a program on the word processor. I think it was Word Perfect or something like that.
Well, this is before then even, right? So I was in this real primitive thing. And so I sold the 3-phase profit retention system. I sold it in the National Enquirer. The Soldier of Fortune rejected it. So I was having a lot of fun doing that. But every time I sold it, I'd open up the word processor, access the program, and tell it to print it. And it would like type it out. So it looked like it was a fresh typed manuscript. It's really cool. But that changed my life because it was just different technology. We didn't have that when I was a cop. We didn't have that when I was in high school. I'm 59, just to put it in context. So here I am, 25 years old, discovering the personal computer, and my whole life changes. And I just told people, this is like the moment they plugged a computer into the phone. The world changed. Better or worse, I can't say. I don't care. But the fact that I can have a computer not even plugged into a phone and talk to you today or call my dad afterwards, I think that's cool. And I
It
think we're
is.
in the middle of another quantum leap. People want to quantum jump timelines. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Damn it. You live in the best time in history. So do I.
Right. And I can vaguely, and I can remember when the internet became popular, where, you remember AOL was out, they had dial-up internet and all that. But even when that first
Mm.
came out, I can remember vaguely, even like some of my aunts, oh, I'll never put my credit card in that thing. I'll never, and then I was like, you're not gonna have a choice after a while. You gotta figure it out. And now, they have Facebook profiles. So it's one of those
Exactly.
things you kind of
Exactly.
it's very similar to a lot of other tools. It depends on who's wielding it, whether it can be useful or destructive or whatever, right? But it
Well, you
can
know
be.
what? Yeah, go ahead. We can totally change our lives. We just got our new fence. You've heard me talking about this. And Victoria made this thing, and we put the video up on Facebook. We have a 110-meter fence. Uh football. It's a
That's
football. It's a
Yeah,
football field,
that's a big
right?
fence.
We got a football field of a fence here, and uh, and we told Sean McAllister to save the uprights, even though they're rotted off. A third of them were rotted off, 2/3 weren't. But I said, save them and kick them down over the hill because we're going to turn them into firewood. And I thought this will be easy. I got a bow saw. It's a bow and a saw. And I touched them and I thought, all right, I'm going to spend about $9,000 on massage therapy, and probably end
Trying
up
to
on
solve those fence posts.
painkillers. Yeah, and so I ended up
Been
buying a
there.
little. I bought a little chainsaw, a little electric chainsaw for $50. That ought to be perfect for it. And I bought blades today for our little reciprocating saw. And I figure between those two things, yeah, between the blade I bought and the chainsaw I bought, uh, yeah, I probably will have spent $70 in stuff, and that'll give me at least uh 10 times the efficiency. And so
Or
I'm
you
going to
could
say
use an axe
or I could use the axe, yeah, right.
and
So
throw you
going back,
back out.
so going back to your earlier comment, you're Stevenson. You provide a service. Uh, if I had a child and I wanted to go out with my wife, I would hire a babysitter. Now, the babysitter, uh, I'm not paying her to babysit. I'm paying her for a nice night out. The
Right.
babysitter stays at home with the kid. I'm going out with Victoria for a nice night out. So the babysitter isn't selling babysitting. The babysitter is selling a nice night out.
An experience.
Yeah. So when my friends say, hey, Twetny, yeah, how are you in Victoria? Oh, we're tense, man. We haven't been out in 3 years. You know, babies, bap, 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 bap. They never shut up. They're always doing something. Oh, yeah, you know what? You guys got to go out. Yeah, we can't leave the baby. Don't want to take the baby. Well, I got a babysitter. She's so good. And she even texts us a couple times while we're out just to let us know everything's okay if we wanted to. We don't anymore. She used to. But we know when we leave and we leave the baby with Kelly, when we call home, everything's cool. The dishes are clean. Their baby's in bed. She even sweeps the floor sometimes. She's just a great kid. Yeah. I want a Kelly. Uh, Not because I want a babysitter, but because I want a night out with my wife.
Which
Let's
is
pretend you let's pretend you thought you were a babysitter. What are you really selling to people? What business are you in?
excelling the time or an experience. With me, a lot of times have those conversations. It's what would an extra 5 hours a week do for you? Can you visit a dad, parent or a sister, sibling, and you go to the store? Can you not? I mean, it doesn't seem like much, but if you can take a day, even from 8 hours to 6 hours, if you're a business owner, you can get the same amount, and I can get you 10 hours back. Those are 10 hours you can't ever get again. So it's all the specs, how to do it, how to set it up. That comes kind of after you've agreed to do it. But if I'm discussing or having a conversation or consultation, it's how are you doing things now? If I could show you a way to reduce that by 25%, would that make sense for you? How much is that time worth to you? And for a lot of my clients, it's not, it's beyond the point where the business is profitable, but now if there's no systems, what happens is that scale tips and they go, well, now I'm making way enough, more than enough money, but I don't have time to do what I want to do. So you get caught in that, I guess you call it hamster wheel. And that's
Yeah.
essentially what I'm doing. So that's the time, I guess, is the short answer.
So in a world where people are saying I can show you how to double your money,
Right.
uh, or get more clients, my you'd love. I call her the doggy dominatrix. Her name's Lisa, and 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 I take Emmett to Lisa, and she can trim his nails, shave his butt, and make him look pretty. And I go, that's cool because I don't want my dog associating to me uh shaving his butt or trimming his nails. I can do it if I have to, but I'd rather give him to her. And after a couple visits, he's gotten real relaxed with her. And she goes, something's wrong with your dog. He's not trying to get me anymore. I said, that's good. That's good. Yeah. And she says it jokingly, but she's right. Emmett's mellowed out with her, which is cool. So
Mm.
she doesn't just give me a groomed dog. She gives me a better relationship with my dog. Because I don't have to have Emmett terrified when he knows, oh, he's got shit on his ass. Yeah. He's become a lot easier to deal with there because normally his grooming takes care of that. If it doesn't, it's so infrequent that no problem. And I think as business people, if we can help people get, uh, and I keep exploring, what is it that I really do for people? Some people say, oh, he's a double gutter expert, the word of two, sit up, the guru. Yeah. Well, yeah, I've had a lot of titles, apps, and all that stuff. But what do I really give people? If I can help myself notice, this is what happens when somebody hangs out with me or puts me on retainer. Uh, then they'll want to hang out with me, put me on retainer. Uh, if I had a child, I would want to Kelly. Uh, Sean McAllister, my fencing guy, didn't just give me a fence. He took care of my dogs. He put the fence up quietly and quickly. Working from home, I need quiet and I need quick. And it was cool to have him here because he gave me the tangible. But he also gave me the intangible. You
Do
took
you
care of
ever
the kid. You say again?
do
Yeah.
you ever look at because I looked at this different when I was younger, I would hear older people that I know, well, they'll say, well, for example, if you have somebody mow the lawn, right? They'll say, well, you can just mow the lawn yourself, save yourself 30 bucks or whatever,
Ah,
whatever it costs, right?
yeah.
And so, it's say, I don't like mowing the lawn, right? So why don't I just get someone
Yes.
lights up when they landscape? So I started looking at it as if you like I'm using this as an example, but if I have someone to mow the lawn, I'm giving somebody the opportunity to get paid
Yes.
doing something that they
That- that-
actually enjoy. Like
yes.
my dad actually used to get joy out of mowing the lawn, doing the hedges, and he would just sit back and look at it. And that would really like give him joy. So it's interesting to see that. So I look at that different if you have to hire someone to do so. It's not just I don't want to do it. It's someone else. This is someone else's area to shine. This is what
Yeah. This
enjoy.
is their this is their gift.
Exactly.
So I tell people all the time, I think it's in the prosperity thing. Uh, what if you can make great money while doing what you love? Uh, but what if I could pay someone money to do what I can do, but don't love doing, so I can have a talk with you? If I talk with you, both of our lives change. If I cut the grass will change. And I'm sure I'll find some shit that I can talk about. I can turn anything into a teaching story. You probably noticed that. I get on a
Right.
live call, and whatever the hell shows up out of my mouth, it's from the last 24 hours, and it'll tie in perfectly with how we're going to explore the producer, or how we're going to explore the disciple of Thaddeus. And you guys give me compliments, so must and you keep showing up. So I think I must be doing something good. But I'd rather give someone money. Tomorrow I'm taking my car to get it serviced. I could change the oil. There's YouTube videos. There's YouTube videos telling everyone what you do. I guarantee it. If we
Yeah.
went into the detail as far as Stevenson does this, oh, I saw a YouTube video on that. All right. I'd suggest you watch 10 of them to make sure and then implement. And then tell me if you're
And
having more fun.
and I tell them the difference. That's interesting you brought that up. I was talking to a friend of mine, say the difference between me and someone who would look up a YouTube video to do that is I would look up a YouTube video to learn how to do that for fun because I like it.
Bingo.
So when I
Bingo.
do it with other people, it's just, oh, you're gonna pay me? I was gonna watch this anyway. I think it's cool. You want to pay me to do it? Awesome. So, that's kind of how I look at it.
Are you a lifelong learner?
I am now. So I don't I think it's always you're always learning something. There's always something to learn. I don't think anyone's enlightened, right? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get to 80 and that's it. I got everything down pat. So I enjoy learning. Now there's certain things I enjoy learning more than others, but I don't shy away from learning. And I've learned to be quick to say, I don't understand. And the other thing I've learned from being in your program is to be okay with not understanding right away. That was something that's very shifted because if I didn't get something, I was like, why did I get it? It's like, what is it?
Yeah,
It's okay to say, I don't get it yet. Let it go again. It'll click.
yeah. It's nice to not beat yourself up or push. And we live in a culture that's addicted to beating up and getting beaten up, and pushing. My fictitious babysitter, Kelly, uh, God, if I could have pushed my way through another day with Victoria and the kid, versus I love my kid. I don't have one, just for the sake of listening. But I just want to go out with my wife. And here's somebody who loves temporarily being a mommy for 3 hours. You be the mommy. Right? We'll leave.
It's very interesting. My older sister, she's a assistant principal, and so for 8 hours a day, she's around kids, and it doesn't bother her at all. I mean, she had stories that guess what this kid did, and you wouldn't believe what happened, and she has all of these stories that are some are crazy, some are funny, but it's natural to her. If I was locked in school for 8 hours with kids, I'd probably lose my mind. But it's completely natural for her. So
I've been nuts recently about the difference. So this started back during the Disciple of Bart a few months ago, Remarkable, where Neville says, I'll use my words, the masses are mental. Uh, and imagination is head and shoulders above the masses, head and shoulders above mental. And I love mental because I can grab a smoke, grab my stand, enjoy a cigar with you. I can send you a link. We can get together. It's mental takes care of all that stuff. And mental isn't hard as long as I use it for what it is. It's a tool. My imaginal loves aha moments and insights and sharing cool people with cool people. And so you and I are here. My imaginal makes a lot of things possible. My mental can increase the probability that the iPad stays where it is. And that's good. I couldn't do what your sister does. But the way she imagines her identity has her be a great vice principal or assistant principal, I forget what she said. So she's imagined herself into a role that works for her, and she'll have mental processes to do it, and you and I can't do that.
Yeah.
I just can't.
And yeah, it's and that goes back to kind of what I was saying, where you know each of us desires or divine in nature, like you said, it's unique to each person, which makes it cool. The more people you come across, and then you figure it out. The more you get to know them, you go, that's your thing. That's what you're. That's part of why you're here. So.
Yes.
I did have a question for you. So it's not
Yeah.
really a question, but so the story, I always listen to this story and I feel like I get something different every time. When Neville talks about the story, him and Abdullah and the trip to Barbados.
Yes.
Um, so the fascinating thing about the story, I've probably never heard it. I'm sure you've heard it hundreds of times. Is it's it's not just the imaginal act, but it's the knowingness after he says you're going to Barbados and you went first class, or you went to Barbados and you went first
I
class.
went first class. Yes.
And the thing that always stuck out to me in the story was the first time he gets the third class seat for the trip, and he's
Yes.
excited. And he goes back, and Abdullah says, "Why are you telling me about third class?" And basically,
Yes.
and it's like, what I got out of that is, I don't know if he was trying to illustrate the tempting, it's tempting to settle and say, well, this is close to combat versus like the knowingness of, no, it's this is my magical act. And kind of like the knowingness of that story. I don't know how to articulate it, but the first time he goes back, to me, that's a pivotal part of that story, because if you've ever done it or done a magical act where you'll say, okay, let's say for your example, I want to double my income and work half the time, right? And
Yeah.
and then and then someone goes, I'm doubling my income, but I'm working
Yeah. 4 times as much.
75% of the time. It's like, well, no,
Yeah.
that's not half the time. But you might say, well, that's good enough, versus the knowingness of, this is what I see. This is what's happened. This is what's happened. I guess
So
I don't want to say the shadow realm, whatever you want to call it.
so I'm going to invite you to be Neville and Abdullah for your clients. Ready? When I would walk into a business that didn't need credit cards,
Mhm.
by the way, yeah, so I was part of the team that brought smart cards and electronic gift cards to the United States of America, actually to the world, because it
Oh, wow.
started there. So the cards with the chips
Chips
came
on.
out. Yeah,
You know?
that's me. And
That's
when those came out, I'm the guy that brought that to small businesses. And so you could have your small business and have a Stevenson gift card and loyalty program. and you could take the tappy cards and the plug in and save a lot of money. And we had two kind of people that said no. The people that just were cash and the people that already had a swiping machine. When's the last time you swiped a card? It's probably been a while. You stick it in
Swipe?
or
Oh,
you
not
or
swipe. Yeah,
yeah.
either stick it in or tap it.
Mhm. That's
The
my
only
fault.
time I've swiped is if the other two things are broken.
Yeah. And that's my fault. Yeah, I'm the guy that made it so you don't ever swipe. And so we got to businesses, and the number one thing that I got to tell them was, Stevenson, I noticed you don't take credit cards. That's fine. But have you noticed every business you walk into has Visa, MasterCard logos stuck on their front door? Do you know why? And it's because people don't like rejection, Stevenson. Because they're not going to walk into your store and say, do you take Visa, MasterCard? If they know your competitor takes it and they don't see the signs on your doorway, they're walking past. And so I made them realize this is why people walk past your store. The first thing we do, besides giving you a machine that's going to cost you a lot of money, is we give you stickers that don't cost a lot of money. And you put them on your door and your whole life changes. And they went, damn, that's good. It's true. And I built a business based on referrals based on that fact. And I made good money because I helped them get, you're not buying beep. You're buying, have a nice day. Yeah, you're buying, they're going to buy 30% more because they're using a card versus cash. You're buying the fact they're coming into your store with versus walking past. And so I helped them get a story, the story being, you got into business for pleasure and profit. And I would like to increase both of those for you. And I can do that, but I have to do it today because my boss will not let me come back. We do it one call. And it worked great. I have clients that pay me residuals to this day. And I did this back in 2001. They're still in business.
Wow.
I wonder how many of them wouldn't be in business if they would have waited. And I think
And here we are again.
And I think you and I have the opportunity to help people discover an identity. And I'll bring it back to that because that's where we started. You didn't get into business to have a job where you're the boss and the employee. That's twice as much work. You got into business to be a business owner. To be a business owner, you need systems that work. Whether or not you have employees, you need systems that work. And hopefully we can help restructure what you do so you can work less and make more. So you can have more time on your side. And so that someday you can sell your business and its systems. Because if you sell your business and you're the workhorse, that ain't going to work. So now you're selling them retirement. And you're changing them from having a business that owns them to them owning an asset that in 5 or 10 years they can walk away from. They can give it to a kid. They can sell it to their competitor. And it just helps us to understand what's the story of Stevenson? What's the story of Mr. 2020? I could give a shit if somebody manifests a new Lambo. I want them to manifest a new identity so that everything in their life changes. And I think it's a cool way to go. So here's my thing to someone who's listened this far and who has a business and they're experiencing something every day that they want to have different. Maybe it's maybe it's the end of the week and they wish they only worked 30 hours versus 60 hours. Maybe they haven't been to Disneyland in 10 years. They want to go to Disney. What's the one thing? Yeah, I want people to ask me, how do I get in touch with this guy? Because I want uh, to have sex with my wife more often. And that's not what you sell, but it is. I want to have new car tires versus retreads. I don't even know if they make retreads anymore. Uh, uh, what's the one feeling that they have that you can help them walk away from?
So to answer the first part of your question, it's easiest to reach me on Facebook, Stevenson, Dansby. I should be the only one there, unless miraculously my dad decides he wants to get on social media. But other than that, I should be the only one there.
You,
And then same Stevenson Dansby on Instagram, and my website, it's wegrowyourbrand.com is my website. So you can reach me on either of those three places pretty easily. That's to answer the first part of your question. The second part of your question, can you repeat it so I make sure I answer it correctly?
you know me, I can't repeat anything.
Oh, okay.
So,
I think
so I'll try
you
again,
wanted
but
me
it's
to give
different.
them a tip, I believe.
Nah, but
Okay.
we can't. But we can. But what's the a friend of mine says, 20, like you look great and you're not limping anymore. Her name's
Mhm.
Yasmin. And I said, yeah. And her knee's shot at this point, and that she's got a lot more ugly than she needs attached to her body. And I said, listen, man, for 30 days, eat nothing but meat. She already knows the imaginal stuff. We've been working together. So imagine up an identity that has you doing what you want to do. I'm doing Kung Fu again, and I couldn't do that right for years. But besides the imaginal work, can you entertain just eating nothing more than flesh and fat for 30 days? And I have no idea how long she's been doing this, but she's lost a lot of ugly. And she looks great. And she just sent me a photo that she's going to be a prison guard of all God forsaken things. And she could have never done that with the body she had before. And I get she's imagined herself differently, and she likes meat. So my two little messages, my fleshitarian message and my imaginal message, hit her just right. So
Well,
uh
that's
so
okay.
so
Sorry.
so you can do a tip. I'd love for you to do a tip. Could be something simple, but I'd also like you to just tell us uh and I'll tell you her thing. She's a middle-aged woman, and she was moving like a fat middle-aged woman. And now she's moving like a 35-year-old woman. And I go, damn, that's good. She's had a couple kids, and she's not carrying around 2, 3 kids in her belly anymore, meaning fat. So yeah, and she feels great about herself. So what's the little thing if somebody's listening to this and they've made it this far, listening to two guys ramble about whatever they're rambling about? What's their why do they want to call you?
So what I tell people, what I would tell pretty much anyone is take a notepad, a piece of paper, and write the top 5 things that eat up most of your time that don't make you a lot of money. Just write them down, even if you think there's no way you can improve on that process. Just write them down so that you're aware of them. Most people don't get to that point where they'll write it down. Once you write it down, you're open to there may be a better way to do this. Once you have that, then the second thing is just write it down on a piece of paper how your business works so you can explain it to a fifth grader. And I guarantee you, if you can do that, almost 9 times out of 10, you can improve your processes. Most people don't do those 2 things, and they aren't even aware that they can eliminate a lot of that time. And I had a client with a kid that had autism, and she's able to pay for his health care, spend more time with him just because of less time stuck inside of the business. So that would be what I would tell people to start.
And they know how to reach you. I'm assuming if they handed you their list of 5 things and
Mhm,
their other little bit you just mentioned, that you could
mhm.
look at that in inside of an hour, give them something actionable.
Exactly. I could tell them exactly what I would do in this scenario, what tools I could possibly look at. And if they said, hey, I hate technology, I want to do this, can you give me a quote on doing it? We can get it
Cool.
done for you.
So in business, one of the things that I noticed, I used to build websites. I build websites that work.com is my old website thing, right? And my pitch was really simple. For $500, I'll make you a 5-page WordPress site and teach you how to run it. My buddy Perry Culver gets one. He used to pay $500 in every 2 months to the local paper for advertising. He quits advertising in the paper because nobody reads the paper. We put him on Google, and he's crushing it. Sometime later, I'm in an absolute bind, and I reach out to him and a few friends and say, "I need some money. Can you lend me $200?" He sends me $1,000 as a gift. Says, "You don't owe me this. All right, that website you made has changed my business. Right? I make websites that work.com. Yeah, I don't own it anymore. Somebody else hopefully does. So that's cool. I think we can make such a difference in people's worlds if they're willing to give themselves permission for their worlds. You used the word can when you were talking. Can is a permissive verb. Can we give ourselves permission to not worship struggle anymore? Because your client with the autistic son, there's 2 lives that are changed forever thanks to Stevenson. That's what you sell. That's you being Kelly. And your clients need to understand that you're Kelly, not just a babysitter. So my question to you is, what the hell do I do, Stevenson?
Yeah. Well, I mean, your content is really good and you're really good with copy and your short form content is really good. When I look at it, the only thing that I would say if I was I say if it's a magic wand, I would say if 20 just got obsessive about keywords and titling his videos. But I know you title them a very specific way for a very specific reason. But there are things like hashtags and tags in YouTube that you can add on that just put you in front of more eyeballs. Whoever sees it's gonna see it. You know how that works. But YouTube is essentially a big search engine. So
Yes.
positioning
Okay.
is really, I wouldn't tell you to change a thing on the content, just how you upload and uh, do optimization, your SEO on the videos that's pretty much the only. I
Yeah.
think that is huge. And
So
I'm telling you this from experience because I figured it out a couple of years ago and I studied it and it's a few tweaks. And I remember I had a video do like 30 something thousand views, which I wasn't trying to do that. I was just trying to see if I could rank the video so that people who having
yeah, yeah,
trouble with this could find it. And I goes, oh shit, this works.
yeah.
So
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
that's what I would say, you know, in my
And
experience.
and you can train a client in how to do this, or you can do this for them. Yes.
Yeah, so I've done it both ways. So if I train them, I do a consult. So I do a Zoom video like this, we record it. They get the AI companion notes and the
Nice,
recording if they want to go back to it, or I can do it for them if they
nice,
have a specific project they want to work on. I'll just give them a quote and we do it for them.
nice. I want people to understand this so that they can do this with you.
Yeah, it's fun to me.
It's fun to me. And what I do is I work at something and I notice, can I have fun doing this? If yes, I continue to do it. Uh, I'll work at something and I'll say, who can teach me how to do this better? Or I work at something and I go, fuck this. Right. Victoria had a young fella here today and he drug all that heavy wood down into the garden for me. Because remember, I told Sean McAllister, just chuck it on the hill. Well, Victoria says something and she goes, we call this fella Hobo Jeremy because he lives in the woods. He comes out of the woods to work and he goes back to the woods. He got tired of paying rent. And I love this kid. And she said something and she goes, would you like it if all that wood was closer to the house and not on the hill? And I said, yes. And Hobo Jeremy in 2 hours cost us, I don't know, $70, drug all this wood off the hillside for me. I could have broke something fucking with it on the hillside. And Hobo Jeremy did something I don't want to do. And she said he loved it. He's coming back next Tuesday. And cool. I look forward to see him. I didn't see him today. I was out. But life is good. I want to thank you for sharing your gifts with me and with our listeners. I want to thank you for also pointing out how the programs give to you and for being in the programs because shit, man, this is a pleasure for me. And it'll give to everyone who listens to it who's looking to be given to. And I think being willing to be given to is something in our world today. We're so concerned with somebody taking our stuff that we allot a lot of time and energy to somebody taking our stuff, whether it's the tax man or the boogeyman. And here you are, a lovely man who's willing to say, hey, I'm willing to help you have some more boogie in your life and to have your business be less taxing. And I just want to thank you for being you. I'll sign off here in a few seconds, but I'd love to have a quick chat with you after. Is that all right?
Yeah, and I was just real quick say too that the programs for me have been just, I mean, it's probably been 3 or 4 years, maybe 2021, 2020 when I first started your program. So, but they've been very transformative for me. And, after a couple of years before that, I'm just trying to like piece things together and there's got to be a better way of. I always try to look at situations and go, why does this work for this? And why does this not work for this person? Like, I just try to make sense of a lot of things. And it's really helped me make sense of multiple areas in my life. So
Nice.
it's been the best investment that I've made. So just let's put that on record.
Oh, thanks, my friend. Cool. Stevenson, have a great day. And thanks for being you.
Thanks, Sway.
Cool.